With the holidays fast approaching, today I'm sharing my top 10 ways to navigate social situations like parties or family dinners after a concussion. These tips are going to help you to make the most of your time this holiday season. So let's dive in. Tip number 1 is to start small. Begin with the people you're comfortable with and then gradually increase the size and complexity of your social events. If your friend group does a cookie exchange every year, it's okay to skip it and maybe just ask for 1 or 2 people to get together with you for coffee. And remember that it totally sucks to miss out on things, but next year will be better. You'll be further along in your healing journey and you will be able to participate in more activities and for longer. I mean, it's hard to remember that in the moment, especially when you're disappointed and lonely and frustrated. But this is not forever. You are healing and it will get better. So start small and grow from there. Step 2, planning ahead can help you to reduce stress and reduce anxiety. So look at your calendar and identify all the upcoming social events that you could participate in. Think about whether or not you are up for them, and if you're not, it's okay to decline. You want to make sure that you're not wasting your time on things that you don't really care about, and make sure that you get to do the most important things over the holiday. So start by making a list of all the things you could potentially do or might want to do. This can include things like baking, going to family dinners, connecting with your friends, getting some early Christmas shopping done. Now take a look at the list and break it down further. Because bringing baking to family dinner is not just baking, right? It's picking a recipe, thinking about who likes what and what should I make, and then do I have all the ingredients? I got to find the recipe, check the ingredients list, go to the store for any missing ingredients, then doing the actual baking. Once I've taken a realistic look at what each activity entails, I plot them out on a calendar and I add in recovery time. We have a video on task management and breaking things down further, and we also have a free downloadable on the website. So the link to that will be in the description below. Since my concussion, I can't fit in everything that I want to do. Nobody ever can, right? But by being really intentional with my planning and being honest with myself about my need for rest and downtime, I can make sure that I fit in the things that are the most important to me and take some control back from my brain injury. Tip number 3 is to be careful with stimuli. Excessive stimuli can exacerbate your concussion symptoms. We all know this, right? Bright lights, movement, loud noises. So try to limit your exposure to these things, especially in social situations. If busy environments are hard on your head, maybe face the wall instead of facing out into the room so that there's less movement. If bright lights are hard for you, bring a baseball cap. Bring a cute one that has a Santa hat on it or something, but something with a brim to protect your eyes. If loud noises are hard for you or too many conversations, I love my loop earplugs. They help me so much. So think about what types of stimuli can be the most bothersome for you and make sure that you plan for it. I am not good at tip number 4, but I'm getting better at taking breaks. Even in small gatherings, it's okay to take breaks because conversation can be a lot. The excitement can be a lot. It can get overwhelming. If you start feeling like, oh, it's too much, excuse yourself and find a quiet place to rest. I like to reach out ahead of time and warn my host that I might need a quiet space. Often they'll just say, yeah, for sure, use the guest room. But you can also just go into the bathroom for a couple of minutes, turn out the lights, sit there in the quiet and the dark, and let your system calm down a little bit. And that leads right into tip number 5, communicate your needs. It's important to communicate with your friends and your family, and it doesn't need to be a big deal, right? Let them know about your concussion and any limitations that you have. I get dizzy when I'm standing, so I'll need to sit. That way, if they've planned to do just a buffet and everybody's standing around, they can make sure that there's at least one seat out for you. Or you can just give them a heads up. I find a lot of movement overwhelming, so I'm going to face a wall. And this will help them understand what's going on and not call you from across the room and say, hey, come over here and talk to this person. They'll know that you're trying to keep things easy on your eyes and support you as best they can. Tip number 6, this helped me at my sister's wedding, was to pick a point person. This was a person that I could ask for help, like when it was time to leave. She made sure that I didn't get stopped on the way out. She also made sure that the key people, the family members who had come from out of town that I really wanted to say hi to, she made sure that they came over and chatted with me so that I connected with everybody that I wanted to that night. So having a point person, if there is something that you're going to need help with, if you walk with a cane, they can help you carry your food. That point person can just smooth things over for you. Tip number 7 is to set boundaries or back out if you need to. I know that when you say set boundaries, you think about other people and their behaviors. It is okay to set boundaries with yourself. If I am not feeling up to going to this social event, I will call and cancel. Even now, I hate the thought of canceling at the last minute, but sometimes that's what's going to be best for our brain. And that boundary doesn't have to be all or nothing. If you had planned on going to dinner and staying for an hour, and you find that your head is really having a bad day, maybe you say, I want to go. I've got family in from out of town, so I will go, but because I'm not at 100%, I'm limiting myself to 20%. Set that boundary for yourself. I am not going to push myself so hard that I'm going to be recovering for a week. Tip number 8, if your doctor has prescribed medication for you, painkillers, anti-inflammatories, things to help with your migraines, bring your drugs and a bottle of water so that you can take them before you leave. I like to try to stay as sharp as possible when I'm chatting with people, so I try to take less painkillers, which is something that I talked about with my doctor ahead of time. So please check in with your family doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just me sharing what works for me. Don't adjust your own meds unilaterally. Talk with your family doctor. But what I do is I take less drugs. I bring along my painkiller and my anti-inflammatory and a small bottle of water, and I leave them in my bag so that I can pop those as I'm leaving, so that I don't have to wait the extra half hour or so to get home, take off my coat, get in the house, get my drugs. I'm ready to go. Tip number 9, book an Uber. Driving home is going to be cognitively fatiguing. If you can spend that extra little bit of time with your friends or family and then let somebody drive you home, so much the better. It's a little thing, but it can help. Remember to celebrate your progress. Every step forward is a victory. You know, the next day you might feel frustrated or disappointed that you couldn't spend longer or that you didn't stay until the end like everybody else, and you might feel like you missed out on things. So remember to celebrate your progress. Every step forward is a victory. Be patient with yourself and acknowledge that this is something that I might not have been able to do a year ago. So yay for at least getting there. Or Yay for leaving early enough that I didn't cause a migraine the next day. Navigating social situations after a concussion can be challenging, but with patience and planning and support, it is possible. I hope these 10 tips have helped. I hope that you get to connect with your family and friends this holiday season. Please share in the comments if there are things that you do to make time with your family and friends a little bit easier on your brain. Thank you for watching, and remember that you are not alone in your concussion.